you doing out there, Livia? My name is Crem, and I'm the Director of Fitness, and thank you for joining me for today's Mastering Form workout. The Mastering Form workout series is meant to show you how to do some of your favorite exercises. Maybe they're ones that you currently do, or exercises that you've seen, or maybe you want to kind of get comfortable with, but show you how to do them properly and number one, safely. It's always important to make sure that you're using exercises the way they're intended, but more importantly that you're doing them the correct way, because it really helps to limit the possibility of injury. So we want to teach you how to do these exercises. Of course, make sure they're fun for you, but number one, make sure that we're doing them safely. So as usual, before we jump right on into showing you anything, make sure that you've gotten your doctor's permission first. It's always important to check in, especially if this is a new workout for you, a new class that you're taking on, or maybe you're just sort of changing it up and you're just not quite sure. So it's always a good idea just to kind of check with your physician first. Make sure you've got your water handy. Hydration is key, not just when you're exercising, but just in general. So have your water. I've got mine handy, so I definitely will be taking sips of it as I need it, and I encourage you to do so as well. Now, throughout the Mastering Form series, we've gone through many different types of exercises. We've gone through exercises for the upper body, the shoulders, the front of the arms, the back of the arm, the legs. So definitely been trying to spread it out for you so you can have some exercises and some variety to kind of add to your routine. And we're going to continue to build on that. Okay, so we'll take some exercises that are pretty traditional, like push-ups and sit-ups and crunches. And then we'll also do some things that are a little different that maybe you haven't seen or explored yet. So hoping to give you some variety in that. Throughout the exercises today, I'm also going to show you some modifications where I feel like those will be helpful for you, so that way you can adjust in your fitness level. One of the main goals of the Mastering Form workout series is exercises that you can do comfortably wherever you're at. So if you happen to be at your home, I want to show you exercises that you can do there. If you're traveling and you're in a hotel room, exercise you can do there. But also if you happen to be at a gym. If you're at a gym and you're working out with specific pieces of equipment, to be able to show you some things that you can kind of incorporate if you choose to do so. So let's dive on in. So today, the Mastering Form workout, we're going to go through what's called a kettlebell swing, a dumbbell leg curl, and a runner's crunch. Okay, so those are the three movements I'm going to show you. I like to show you movements that incorporate upper body, midsection, lower body. So I try to keep it that way most of the time. So we're going to do that today, kind of keep with that tradition that we've been doing the last several weeks. So let's jump into the kettlebell swing. Now, kettlebells, if you've not seen one before, they're normally weighted. They typically have this look right here, but they're weighted at the bottom, and they typically have some type of handle. There's many, they have different colors. There's some that have plastic around them. There's the traditional metal looking kettlebells, but there's definitely variations with that. I would say if you've never been used a kettlebell before, to start out with a lightweight, maybe like a 5-pounder, or this one right here is 5, or maybe a 3-pounder. Kind of ease into it if you've never used it before. Kettlebells are similar to a dumbbell in the sense of it's a free weight, which means that you have a lot of range of motion on what you can do with that piece of equipment. But you definitely want to make sure that you're using it properly. There's a lot of great exercises that you can incorporate a kettlebell into, so it's one of my favorite things to use. Now, if you don't have a kettlebell, you can absolutely substitute a dumbbell for this move too. So I'll show you how to incorporate a dumbbell in the event that you don't have a kettlebell. You can also utilize sort of like a book bag or something heavy that you feel that won't tear apart on you, but you feel comfortable putting some books in or adding resistance to it, or a bag, not necessarily a backpack, but a handbag is a good idea at times too, or just something that's sturdy, something you feel like is going to be safe for you to use. So let's get into it. Kettlebell swing. Kettlebell swing is a great exercise for, it's going to work a lot of different muscle groups, but it's traditionally known to really be a great workout for your upper body. It's also going to work the back of the thighs. You're going to get your rear in there. You're going to definitely get your shoulders in there. You're going to get your back in there. And it's a really great exercise to get that heart rate up. So if you want to incorporate something that's going to not only strengthen the body, but get that heart pumping, add some cardio to it. A kettlebell swing is fantastic for that. So let's start with positioning. Now, when it comes to position, I'm going to show you from this position here, and I'm also going to face it. But it's always important to make sure that your positioning and your form and your posture is key. Okay, so my feet are about hips apart, and when I grab the kettlebell, I'm grabbing it overhand. So I'm not grabbing it underhand, I'm overhand. Now I want to keep a slight bend in my knees, so I don't want to have my knees tight. I don't want to hyperextend those joints. And it's sort of going to simulate a squat. Okay, so if you think about a squat, we're still hip width apart. It's this movement. So it's very similar in that way as far as we're hinging at the hips and we're going down. The difference is, one of the differences is that we're incorporating a swinging motion with this kettlebell. Now, when I bring this kettlebell up, I traditionally want to bring it about right here, okay, about shoulder height. There are times when you've seen people bring it all the way up, which you can do. There's variations of that. I will say, if you're going to do that and you haven't done it before, start light and make sure you don't have tweaky shoulders. If your shoulders are a little bit bothersome to you, be very careful about bringing that kettlebell above your head, okay? So traditionally, the kettlebell swing is about from right here, about shoulder height. We bring it between the thighs while still keeping that good posture. So my back is strong, I'm not slouching over. Very important for me not to do that. And my knees aren't extending beyond my toes. So I'm dropping my weight back. So here, swing. Swing. And ideally, I want nice tightness in my arms. Meaning I don't want my arms to be loose. I don't want to do this with my arms. I really want them to be extended completely. So from here, bring it up, shoulder width, hinge at the hips. Hinge at the hips. Drive those knees, your heels through the floor. Maintain good posture. Back straight. Stomach tight. All right, so from this position, same thing. I'm using my heels, driving them through the floor. Kettlebell is here, shoulder height, and I'm gonna swing and up. Swing and up, swing and up, swing and up. Now let's say, for instance, you did wanna bring it all the way above your head. Maybe you're at that level. Just make sure if you do that, when you bring it up, it's right here, right above the head. Don't bring it behind your head, okay? So stop here. Make sure you have really good stability with that kettlebell. So again, chest up, swing, and I'm straight up. Swing, straight up, swing, straight up. Now, as mentioned, I would recommend keeping it to the traditional kettlebell swing where you're stopping about shoulder height with it. But if you feel like you're at a different level and you want to sort of try going above your head, definitely start light and don't do it if you feel like you've got injuries to your shoulder or something pre-existing in your shoulder. So let's just say you don't have a kettlebell. A dumbbell works great for this as well. So, same position. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the kettlebell, one over, one under. So I have one palm up, one palm down. Still same positioning with my feet, same good posture. Nothing's changed, and I swing. So it's the exact same movement. The difference that you'll probably notice with a kettlebell is because that bell at the bottom, most of the weight is centered here, it's going to have a different movement to you, for you, especially on your wrist. So that's why you want to really get comfortable with a lighter weight at first. A dumbbell, you're kind of balancing the weight. So you're not going to feel so much difference in where the weight is distributed. So it's a little bit of a different feeling. So just kind of take note of that. So same thing here. Bring it up. Right there. And I have a tendency to go a little higher because that's just how I like to do my kettlebell swing. So I even have to tell myself, shoulder high, Crem. Shoulder high. Okay, good. So that was the kettlebell swing. Great exercise to add if you want to get that heart rate up, okay? And great upper body workout. Great for an upper body workout. Now the next one we're going to do together is a leg curl. A dumbbell leg curl. Now, if you've been at a gym before, you probably have seen a leg curl machine. And that's where your legs come up and down. And it works the back of the legs. You can also simulate the same move with a dumbbell or with bands. I'm going to show you how to do it with bands. Now, dumbbell leg curl is great for the back of the legs. It's great for the rear end area. It really works out, gives you that full range of motion, and it's great for things that you normally do, like running and jumping. So working the back of the thighs is a great thing to do. Now, with the dumbbell, using that, we're going to do it lying down. And you can also do this on a bench, okay? But if you've not done this before and you don't have a bench, lying flat on the floor is just fine. Now, if this is new for you, I recommend always start with a light weight, okay? You can always increase your weight, but form is key. So start with a light weight until you get used to it. Okay, now, I promise you, sometimes the hardest part of this exercise is putting this in between your feet. What I want to do is I want to have the dumbbell straight up. So the inside part of my feet is holding this dumbbell up. That's another thing that's important to keep in mind if you're going to be doing this with the dumbbell, is you don't want the weight too heavy where you can't feel like you can manage it and hold it back there. So, I'm down on my mat, I'm relaxed here. I'm going to lower that dumbbell towards the floor. And when I come up, I'm squeezing the back of my legs. I'm down. And I don't want to go to where the dumbbell hits. I don't want to potentially rock it. So I just want to get close to the floor, as close as I can, and I'm squeezing. Now, as far as how far to squeeze in, I'm going to stop about right here, where my ankles and my knees line up. This is too much, okay? So just about right here is fine. And up, and squeeze. And up, and squeeze, and up, and squeeze. Now, if you, let's say for instance, you feel like putting that dumbbell behind you is tough for you, because it's not always the easiest thing to do. This is a really great exercise to do if you got a partner or workout buddy, but let's just say you're doing it on your own and you don't feel comfortable with a heavy weight, putting it between your feet that way, or maybe your range of motion is a bit limited and it's a little tough to kind of get back to do that. You can do a variation or modification for that. Now, what you would do is you would get in a tabletop position on all fours here. And I'm going to take this dumbbell and tuck it right behind the back of my knee. What I want to do here is I'm going to bring this leg, sort of think about my knee getting level with my hip, and I'm going to go up and down. And I'm imagining pushing my heel through the ceiling. Now this modification also works the rear end and the back of the thigh. Okay, so it's going to hit it from different angles a little bit. The feeling may be a bit different depending on what you choose, but it's still same muscle groups back there. You may find that might be a lot easier to manage that dumbbell back here versus lying on the floor. A big difference here is that I'm doing one leg at a time. Sometimes people like that because they can just concentrate on squeezing and feeling one of those that leg one at a time versus just doing both. If you do prefer this move, make sure you keep your back nice and tight. Don't dip your spine, so keep your back straight. If you feel like there's a challenge being on your hands for a period of time, you can also do this from your elbows. right here. So I can adjust. So I'm still working the rear end area and the back of the leg. I want to keep my foot neutral, right? So I'm not necessarily pointing my toe up. It's just a nice neutral position with my foot. It's a relaxed position with my foot, and I'm not dipping my lower back. All right? So those are some variations for a leg curl. Again, a band is great for that too. So, you can also incorporate that into it if you felt like you didn't want to use a dumbbell, or again, if you didn't have access to a leg curl machine. Okay, perfect. So, let's keep going. Now, we're gonna go through stomach, okay? As promised, we did an exercise for the upper body, an exercise for the lower body. Now we're gonna do something for the midsection. What we're gonna do is called a runner's crunch, okay? Now, there's many different variations and exercises that work the stomach, okay? So we're gonna constantly go through many different options through the series for you, but this is just another one that you can kind of add into your routine. A runner's crunch is great for your stomach muscles. It's also a really good exercise for the lower back. It helps support good. It helps to support good posture. So there's a lot of good benefits to adding in a crunch like this. A good way to start with this one is to lie completely flat. So everything is flat for me. And until you get the flow of how this works, sometimes it's great just to start from the beginning, and then we'll kind of speed it up as we can. So what I want to do is think I'm going to have opposite elbow, get to opposite knee. Opposite elbow, get to opposite knee. So what it's going to look like is I'm just going to go here as I come up, just right there for right now, until you get the rhythm, until you get the flow. Then I'm going to go right down, up here. Same thing, come up, like that, and up, right like that. Now, until you kind of get that flow or that rhythm going, keep that pace if that's good for you. If that's where you're comfortable at, that's totally fine. Let's just say you said, okay, I can kind of speed it up or kind of get more into the momentum of it. So, what we do at this point is up, and up, and up. And I'm remembering to squeeze my stomach muscles in tight, right? I'm also remembering to breathe, don't hold my breath. And remember, opposite elbow, right on the inside of that opposite knee. And up, up. And I'm going all the way down. And up. Now, let's say you're ready for it. You're really ready to kind of get all the way into that exercise. You practice it and you're ready to go. So we're gonna now do it without having our feet on the floor. So we start here, and we're up, 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 up. So you can definitely take this from, I'm starting out with the exercise to a more advanced way to do the exercise. Now let's just say that exercise doesn't suit your lower back, because that is a lot of lower back movement. Even though it helps to strengthen the lower back, if you have lower back challenges, probably isn't a really good exercise to incorporate. But you do want to sort of get more of that total ab movement in. So this is how we would modify this. All right. Same thing, I'm starting out below here, and I'm just going to bring it here. Here. This allows me to keep my back more stable on the floor without that full pop-up motion. And up. Still the same idea, it's just at a different level of intensity. And up. Now, if, let's say for instance, that worked out great, but you still had some challenges with the lower back area, Support your low back with maybe a small rolled up towel, just something to kind of take some of that tension off. And if you felt like that was still a little bit bothersome, don't have the legs straight. Have your legs, knees bent, and here. There we go. All right? So you're just finding what works for you. Still the same thing, elbow, inner thigh, stomach is tight, and I'm here. If I didn't want to involve the legs, I can go right there. And I'm still visualizing the exact same thing. So you see there's some variations that you can do to really still stimulate that same feeling you're getting while you're still toning and sculpting the stomach muscles and still working on your posture. So those were our 3 exercises for today's Master Strength Form workout series. So we did the kettlebell swing, upper body, dumbbell leg curl for the legs, the runner's crunch for the belly. I hope you enjoyed kind of going through these 3 exercises. If you have any questions about the form, how should you do it, if there's a modification for something, or maybe it was these 3 exercises, or maybe it's a different exercise, email me at fitness@livia.com. It's always great to kind of get your questions and be able to support you in any way we can. No matter what, whether it's these exercises that you're doing or anything else, remember you always want to master that form. See you again soon.